A pain doctor accused of prescribing pills that led to the deaths of several patients. What authorities say he was giving them and the punishment he could face.
Huh? Nobody's gonna kill you, dude. You're going to jail, though.
A man claims he was high on antibiotics while running from police. Why a jury didn't buy it. News 12 at 6 starts in 60 seconds.
Texoma's #1 rated newscast, broadcasting live from 12 studios. This is News 12 at 6 p.m.
He did not use the good business practices, and he was not a good doctor.
A Texoma doctor accused of misprescribing pain meds. How many deaths he's blamed for. Good evening. Welcome to News 12 at 6. I'm Dan Thomas.
And I'm Maureen. Kane, a local doctor, is facing federal charges accused of illegally prescribing drugs that killed 7 people.
News 12's Rachel Knapp is live at the U.S. Courthouse in Sherman. Rachel, you got your hands on that indictment.
That's right. This 15-page indictment describes the slew of charges Dr. Diamond is facing. In it, it describes or it accuses Dr. Diamond of prescribing hard drugs for no medical purpose, and it also accuses Dr. Diamond of abusing the Medicare system.
I trusted him. He's a doctor. He's a professional. He did not use the good business practices, and he was not a good doctor.
Doubt and mistrust. That's how 2 former patients described Dr. Howard Greg Diamond, who ran pain management practices in Sherman and Paris, until they recently closed. Tuesday morning, Dr. Diamond was arrested by federal agents and charged with prescribing drugs that killed 7 people. Drugs like hydrocodone, oxycodone, methadone, just to name a few, even though there was no medical reason to write those prescriptions. The patients aren't named, but some of those who died were from Ardmore, Idabel, and Hugo. One former patient I spoke with says she was over-medicated and was hospitalized as a result.
I'm no doctor or anything, but I knew my limits when it comes to pain management. I was like, this is just way too much.
Dr. Diamond is also accused of billing Medicare for seeing patients in his Texoma clinics, when he was really in places like Boston, San Diego, and Orlando. Prosecutors say they want to take away Diamond's medical license.
He does not need to be practicing medicine.
We'd like to see conviction, but we'd also like for some people to realize that this is an epidemic. These opioids they're everywhere, and it doesn't take much, and there's a lot of information out there on them. It doesn't take much, and people become addicted, and they do die.
Well, he's currently booked in the Fannin County Jail, and if convicted, he could be facing up to 170 years in federal prison. According to online records, he has pled not guilty, and Friday morning he will be back in this courthouse for another appearance. Live in Sherman, Rachel Knapp, News 12.
A man's body's been recovered from Lake Texoma after he got in last night and did not resurface.
News 12's Kristen Weaver went to the lake to see where it happened. Kristen.
Yeah, guys, the Denison Fire Department recovered a body just a couple of hours ago, about a mile down from where I'm standing, and that's near the Grandpappy Marina.
Totally heartbreaking.
A 25-year-old man's body was recovered today in the Little Mineral section of Lake Texoma.
We called in the Denison Fire Department dive team, and they were able to go down and recover the victim's body a little after noon today.
Texas game wardens tell us they found the body around 9:30 this morning. It all started when a man jumped in the lake last night at around 5 p.m. and didn't resurface.
At some point, he got off the boat he was on, entered the water, began to struggle, and went under.
We're told he was a DFW resident who was on a boat with some friends last night. His body was recovered near Grandpappy Point. Marine Max Representative Rusty Parks took me to the area, and he says this tragic event could have been prevented.
Main thing is to have life jackets and throw cushions. Everybody should wear a life jacket when they get out there.
Parks has been boating on Lake Texoma since he was 3 years old. He says no matter how confident of a swimmer you are, it is so easy for something to go wrong.
The waters are not very forgiving at all.
Game wardens say most people on the lake follow safety rules, and drownings like this are rare.
One is too much, so we like to have none.
Yeah, well, the incident is still under investigation, but the man's body was sent down to the medical examiner's office in Dallas. For now, I'm live in Lake Texoma. Kristen Weaver, News 12.
All right, thank you, Kristen. Well, we now know the name of the man who is still missing after fishing on the Kiamichi River near the dam at Hugo Lake. 26-year-old Chris Archie was in the boat with his father, a 54-year-old man, and a 17-year-old brother when it stalled. The floodgates were opened by that dam, and they were pulled under by the current. The boat was torn apart. The father and brother both survived. Both were wearing their life jackets. Authorities say Chris was not. A large part of the boat was recovered yesterday evening. And another man's body has been found about a mile and a half from where he went under the water near Atoka Monday night. Authorities believe it is the body of Terry Barris. We're told that he and his adult son were fishing Monday night on the banks of Clear Boggy Creek, about 10 miles west of Atoka. His son heard the 60-year-old yell, saw him fighting the current in the water. Emergency workers were called to the scene, but Barris did not resurface. Medical examiner was called in to officially ID that body.
One of the two people killed while changing a tire on I-35 yesterday was a teenager. OHP troopers tell us Rasika Walton of Kane was driving north on the highway when a rear tire blew. She pulled over to the inside shoulder just a little past mile marker 51, partially blocking the roadway. Two people riding with her, a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old, got out to change the tire. 47-year-old Shane Miller from Kansas pulled over to help, and the three of them were standing partially in the roadway when troopers say a vehicle driven by 52-year-old Judy Blaine of Weatherford, Texas, hit Miller and the 17-year-old. They were both pronounced dead at the scene. Blaine was not seriously injured. Troopers are investigating that crash.
Well, Texoma weather is all about the heat once again today. Steve LaNore is here with that overnight forecast. Steve, any breaks coming?
Well, not really, Dan. It's going to be pretty much the same tonight as it was last night. There are some changes by the weekend, though. You can see on today's satellite and radar, some sea breeze showers got about as close as Tyler. We had one teeny tiny shower that lasted about 5 minutes over parts of Lake Texoma. That's just about it, though. We have generally seen no rain in the forecast and none expected. So temperature-wise, we're running in the low 90s again this hour. Temperatures have peaked for the day and will start to slowly fall now. Heat index, in fact, is down a couple of degrees from what it was if you joined us at 5 o'clock. Most of us are just under the 100-degree mark on the feels-like temperature. In the morning, about 74, back up to 100-degree heat index by noon tomorrow. We've got your weekend numbers, which does include a chance of rain when I come back.
A man who claimed he was high on antibiotics while evading Denison police is headed to prison.
Well, as News 12's Sarah Humphrey shows us, that case was caught on camera.
This dash cam footage from November shows Gary Cummings blowing through a stop sign near downtown Denison. When police tried to pull him over, he drives a few more blocks, then jumps out of his moving pickup. The foot pursuit goes out of frame, but you can hear the struggle between Cummings and the officer. Cummings told investigators he thought someone was trying to kill him.
Nobody's gonna kill you, dude. You're going to jail.
Cummings later claimed he was paranoid because he was high on antibiotics.
At one point, he picked up an officer that was 255 pounds and 6'3" and threw him off his back. So we believed it, and the jury believed it was a result of methamphetamine and not hallucinating from antibiotics.
A jury found him guilty of evading arrest with a motor vehicle. He was given 30 years in prison and will be eligible for parole in 15.
We called a medical doctor to testify that in 33 years of his experience that he had never had anyone report hallucinations from taking antibiotics.
This isn't Cummings' first run-in with the law. He has over a dozen prior felony convictions in Grayson County.
The only time he's not committing a crime is when he's locked up. That's the only way I could summarize the defendant.
In Grayson County, Sarah Humphrey, News 12.
A Sherman man has been indicted for having sexual conversations with a teen boy while using the county law library's internet connection. Joshua Barrier was arrested in May for using Facebook to send inappropriate messages to a 16-year-old. The boy's parents notified Whitesboro police after finding the conversation. Prosecutors say Barrier was contacting him using the Grayson County Courthouse Law Library internet connection alone and after hours. Investigators worry there may be more victims. A Texoma woman meets one heck of a greeter at Walmart. What she came upon in the store's parking lot.
Plus, the Thunder get ready to welcome PG-13.
From the Weather Authority, here's Steve LaNore.
Here's a great example of when we say very isolated showers. We had one tiny shower form in Texoma today. It was right in between Gordonville and Sadler, and it lasted about 5 minutes. That was it there in western Grayson County. Elsewhere, we just had a lot of sunshine with a few clouds, and that'll be the case again for the vast majority of us tomorrow. Here's our TMC time lapse. You can see these generally fair weather cumulus clouds moving on through the sky. There were, again, a couple of buildups just to the west of the Sherman-Denison area where a very brief shower may have dropped enough to wet the dust there around the Hagerman Wildlife Refuge. That's just about it. Should be a mostly clear and warm night across Texoma, and Lake Texoma showing not much change here. Now, the Army Corps has not given their power generation numbers for today. They've been running 6 a.m. till midnight, so that may indeed be the case tonight. Not quite sure on that. They just haven't provided that data. Water temp 80 degrees, and your level there is 619 even. That's 2 feet above the normal conservation pool stage on the year-round average. Temperature now running 90 degrees in Antlers and Durant. You're 91 degrees in Tishomingo. Ardmore holding at a 93. Winds have been enough today to kind of stir things up if you're hiding in the shade, which is the best place to be. Not too bad, but if you get out in the sun, don't forget the heat index values that I'm showing you here. You tack on about 20 degrees when you're out in the heat to what these in the shade numbers are showing you here, and they're starting to slowly slip away now with the loss of daytime heating, or at least the maximum daytime heating has passed, the sun getting a little lower in the sky. Upper level low over southwest Texas, generating some showers there in northern Mexico, on back to about San Antonio. For us, the sea breeze cluster of showers coming up off the Gulf. That's pretty typical in the summertime to see that, but that's running short of making it to Texoma. And tomorrow, with this belt of high pressure strengthening a little bit, I don't see any rain for our future there. But that high pressure belt is chugging on to the west, and by Saturday, that will open the gate to a weak front to come in from the north. Tonight, though, and tomorrow, the high pressure strengthens a little bit. Tomorrow, about the same as today on the temperatures, but by Friday, as the high expands, we could see numbers bumping up a couple degrees for the hottest day of the week. Then the high will push off to the west. It'll be really hot out here in the Rocky Mountain states. Start to see an upper level impulse come around the top of that high. At the same time, a weak surface front is coming southward. Neither one of these features containing great amounts of energy, but these together, plus daytime heating and some moisture, could trigger some scattered showers and storms either Saturday or Sunday. Very little cooling with this front. May come down just a couple degrees with a little more cloud cover as we get into Saturday and Sunday. But at this point in time, I wouldn't cancel your weekend plans. We are going to have to keep an eye on this system for potential of at least, again, some scattered storms both Saturday and Sunday. For tonight, though, it'll be dry. Looking at temps about 73, 74, much like the last couple of nights. And tomorrow, once again, a lot of sunshine, going to be hot, about 94 degrees, heat index about 102 on average, and winds tonight pretty light. Tomorrow, once again, a bit of a breeze, kind of keeping things stirred up. Really not a bad deal having a bit of a breeze out there. Over the weekend, going with a 30% chance of showers and storms both Saturday and Sunday. Lots more News 12 at 6 is still ahead.
Atoka County deputies are looking for a man who stole farm equipment from a local home last month, and the owners are now offering a reward.
Atoka County Sheriff says that this man broke into an Atoka County home at the end of June, and stole a tractor, trailer, welder, and other farm equipment. The owners had surveillance and got a notice that someone was on their property. By the time deputies got to the residence, the trailer was loaded with the stolen items, but the suspect had taken off, leaving the stolen items behind. The owners are offering a $2,500 cash reward to anyone with info leading to that man's arrest. Well, a woman in Ada turned some heads this week when she bravely picked up a snake slithering across the Walmart parking lot, and she's got the photo to prove it.
Good for her, because I wouldn't have done that. But News 12's Sydney Gray spoke to her about why she wasn't afraid of that creepy crawler.
I am not a snake person.
While most are used to a warm welcome from an associate while shopping at Walmart, Megan Pender says she and her Aunt Lisa met a different kind of greeter before they even reached the front doors.
My aunt told me that she saw a snake crawl out of a guy's truck, so I came over there, I guess, for moral support.
Philip says she suspects the snake crawled into the truck to get cool. When Philip spotted the snake on the ground in the Walmart parking lot, she went over and grabbed it by the head so it wouldn't frighten anyone else.
I didn't want to leave it here in the parking lot and start crawling up someone's windshield and cause an accident, so I just grabbed the snake and put it out in the grass.
I was really surprised that my aunt just reached down and caught it, like it was no big deal.
Pender says she urged her aunt to call police, but Philip says there is nothing to worry about.
They're harmless. Yeah, I could bite you, but they're harmless, and they eat poisonous snakes, rats, mice, chickens, eggs. But for the most part, a bull snake is your friend.
Phillips also says she didn't want to see someone kill the snake, which is why she freed it.
It's just real common. Just be careful when you go to pick one up. Know what you're doing.
The city of Ada says if you find a snake or wild animal, not to call 911 unless it's a life-threatening emergency. Instead, call animal control. In Ada, Sydney Gray, News 12.
I think she's done that before.
Yeah, and she says you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, not just any snake. You got to figure out what you're getting there.
Live and let live. That's what I say. Let it go on its merry way.
All right, well, the Oklahoma City Thunder still trying to figure out what they're getting with this newest star. High hopes here, huh?
Yeah, he was given the rock star treatment again today after being met at the airport yesterday. But PG-13, they're calling him, should be pretty good. Coming up, the Thunder unveiled their newest star, and a Sooners football player receives one of the highest preseason honors next on Sports.
Now, your award-winning local sports coverage. Here's David Reed.
These are exciting times for the Oklahoma City Thunder. As devastating as last summer was, the energy is back in the organization, and today it reaches its peak. Paul George introduced today as the newest member of the Thunder. He will join Russell Westbrook, which will most certainly be a very difficult 1-2 punch for anyone to try and stop. George can become a free agent at the end of the season, and he's already saying that he's not ruling out an extended stay in OKC, saying that the whole Lakers thing has been way overblown. PG-13 appreciative of the reception.
It's crazy loud. This is a glimpse of what we're getting. This is a glimpse right here. It's crazy. I was told that I would be greeted by a bunch of fans, but no way could I have been prepared for what I got getting off that plane. My family as well. So it was love, man, as soon as I stepped off that plane.
The college football season is just around the corner, and the Big 12 has announced its preseason all-conference team. Sooners quarterback Baker Mayfield has been named the Offensive Player of the Year. The elusive QB threw for almost 4,000 yards with 40 touchdowns last year. Mayfield and the Sooners go into the season looking for their third consecutive Big 12 crown. Kansas defensive end Dorrance Armstrong is the preseason Defensive Player of the Year, and West Virginia QB Will Greer is the top newcomer. Take a look at the all Big 12 offense. OSU with its weapons in there with Justice Hill and James Washington on the first team. OU tight end Mark Andrews and a couple of Sooner linemen, Orlando Brown and Zach Crabtree in there, along with Texas offensive lineman Connor Williams. As for the defense, KJ Smith of Baylor on the all Big 12 team, joined by Longhorns Poona Ford and Malcolm Roach. Malik Jefferson, the big Texas linebacker, anchors a strong linebacking core with Jordan Thomas and Trey Flowers among the DBs. For the second year in a row, the Dallas Cowboys are on top of the Forbes list for the most expensive franchises in all of sports. $4.2 billion are what the Cowboys are now worth, according to Forbes. That puts them just ahead of the Yankees, who are in at $3.7 billion, but who's counting? With the trade deadline approaching on the 31st, the Rangers have told other teams that they are not interested in selling, but could be looking to improve their team at the deadline. The Rangers are 16.5 games behind Houston, but are only 3 games back in the AL wildcard race. Texas ace Yu Darvish figures to be the most attractive asset to restock the farm system should they decide to sell, but if not, they could lose him for nothing. But now it looks like the Rangers are leaning toward adding pieces, not dealing them. But again, we still have a little ways to go before they have to make that decision.
All right, good deal. Thanks, David.
All right, stick around. We'll check your forecast one more time next.
7-day forecast, yes, there will be a chance of some scattered weekend storms, but at this point in time, we're looking at amounts to be less than washout category, so we're all hoping for that.
Use a little rain to cool it down.
That's
just
right,
a touch.
for sure.
There you go.
Thanks, Steve.
See y'all at 10.